Yeah, we're here to talk about patience, right? Which might not be the most exciting topic in the world, but that's what we're going to talk about because it's something that has really helped me, carried me a long way. And it's something that isn't, I don't know, it's really thought about a ton, but I think patience is one of those things that if people would give themselves more time to get what it is they want in life, it would carry them a lot further. And the truth is that people lack a lot of impulse control, and they really tend to just want everything now. And I think that's a younger person's thing. I think as you get older, you get a little more patience, to be quite honest with you. But that's what we're talking about today, So my name's Wilken. I own the Resplendent Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri. We're a small furniture company and paint company. We paint. We have a high gloss coating that's very popular, and it's how we make our money. So we make a lot of furniture. We do about 500 pieces a year, and it's a good business. It's we got, like I said, we got 7 people who have worked for me for maybe, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years is kind of the least, and other people have worked 8, 9 years, which is pretty cool. It's nice to have employees that like our company, like to stick around, so I think that means we're a good employer. And anyway, we're gonna talk about patience today. So truth is that I think most people are too quick to take their idea and move on to something else if they see just a little bit of momentum. If they see something that, gives them just a little bit more of what it is they're looking for, which in a lot of people's cases is either money or recognition, right? Like people just want to be recognized for, doing well, being an authority, all these kind of things. And a lot of people tend to take their dream and they don't follow it. And that's one of the things that is really hard to deal with. And I thought that I could tell the story a little bit of kind of how I ended up here of all places, and how you can do the same thing. You don't have to be one of these people that just goes from job to job to job to idea to idea to idea to idea. If you let that stuff kind of marinate, you let your ideas and the things that interest you, take a little bit, let them kind of grow, learn a little bit, and really kind of get to marinate in them a little bit. You'll see that your what's kind of what I'm trying to say here, your horizons will broaden. More people will see that you're into this thing. You'll get around more people that are into this thing or are interested in what it is that you're interested in, and it'll help you to kind of carry along. So I think it's a really important thing to tell people, and I don't think enough people talk about it because it's not sexy. I mean, who wants to talk about freaking patience? Like it's just like patience is so esoteric, and it's like one of these like, oh yeah, you probably do meditation and yoga too, and that's not what I'm saying. So I'm gonna talk about patience. I'm gonna talk about where I use patience and kind of how it's helped me to get where I am in life, and that's what we're gonna talk about. So anyway, hit the like button, guys. I see we got people in here now. Out of the conversation, let me know where you're at, and if you got anything to say about patience or anything about taking your time or learning to do something over a long period of time, add in the comments. So okay, so truth is that I have literally woodworked my entire life. It's all I've ever done. And I've tried other jobs, but what I realized was that I didn't like that stuff. I couldn't stand doing any other job. It never got to me the way that woodworking does. And I know there's a lot of people that will say, well, I don't have that choice. I got these bills, I got kids, I got this, I got this, I got that. And truth is like, sorry, man, we can't help everyone. The point is that you can do something that you really love, but you gotta have the patience to stick it out, to get good enough at it to where people are gonna want to pay you for it, right? There are people gonna recognize that you're good at something, and then they're going to, aid you or help you in whatever the hell it is that you do, And there's this thing, which I've talked about, I've done videos about it, it's called the Lindy effect, okay? And this is more of a businessy kind of thing, but if you're in business long enough, eventually you become the person or the company that is associated with that thing. But it takes years. It can take decades. The truth is that while other people may jump into your space, they fall off, right? Because most people can't hack it. Like they just don't have either the patience, the impulse control. They don't have, good products, bad business acumen. They don't really like to work that hard. There's all kinds of things that happen over the years. And truth is that if you're able to stick around, you become the company that is associated with that product or service because of what's called the Lindy effect. Google it. It's a good thing. Okay, we got Amal Mazuzi. Let's see here. How are you doing, Master? Doing good. Good. Busy day. Very busy. Like I said, you guys look on my Instagram, you'll see I posted, and I think I posted stuff on YouTube. making it's a drink table. My wife was like, I want you to make me this drink table, and she showed me a picture of it, and I'm just like, yeah, man, I'll make that. And I made it yesterday, and I'm perfecting it today, kind of getting the legs and all that done. So go check it out. It's kind of a cool piece. I need to put a little, it's gonna be like a 3-leaf clover deal in the bottom between the legs, you know. So that's just another thing we know. We're always building products. We're always building new things, always building production things, and that's kind of what business is. Business is not the fun shit that everyone shows you. It's the monotonous, repetitive stuff that makes the money. So anyway, so back to what I was saying. So truth is that if you can stay in business long enough, right, you outlast everybody, and patience is almost the most important thing there is, right? I mean, it's work times time equals success, right? And there's many factors that go into why that is, but the truth is that it's that longevity. You know, it's being out to outlast everyone. I know I'm kind of a broken record on this thing. It's almost the most important thing in business. You know, the person that has a great idea can have that. I mean, we've all known, like, popular athletes, you know, boxers, basketball players. They're amazing talents, right? They're amazing talents, but they're hard to deal with, right? Or they've got a lot of home problems, you know, or they're not good with money. They've got a bunch of bullshit that goes on that derails their career, right? And it's the same thing in woodworking. It's the same thing in painting. You know, if you're one of these people that is an amazing paint company, but you suck at dealing with customers, you know, you're not good at getting product in, you can't hit your lead times, you know, customers, you know, won't deal with you anymore, right? So these kind of things lead to a successful business, right? Lead to a successful person, you know, being able to show up on time, do it consistently. These are the things that the fundamentals of being a successful business person or a successful person in general are all the same. They're undefeated through time, you know, and one of those things is patience, right? So you have to, just because, you know, and again, taking woodworking, because that's my business, having done it for 25 years at this point, it took me, as I wanted to have a business for so long. I've tried to have a business since I was 22 years old, and I've failed every time. I've had 3 failed businesses, and finally got one that worked with the help of my wife. My wife had the idea, I kind of had the operational side, and we've grown this thing into where it's a, you know, a nice little middle-class business. And the truth is that if I didn't have that perseverance and that drive and that patience to just keep freaking going, it would have never happened. You know, and that's the reality of it, guys. Like, you can't expect to just get successful at something or get good at something without putting in the time. You know, and this is the thing I think gets most people is they don't want to put in the time. They want these really fast kind of, you know, and we see it in like social media now. Like, everything on Instagram is reels, YouTube it's shorts. You know, I got all the back end data, and truth is that it's just tons of people wanting quick everything. They want it right now. They're tired of waiting. They want the instant everything. And truth is that it doesn't work that way, guys. Like, you have to have patience, you know, and if you're going to be successful at anything, it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of failure. And these are all, I mean, common things. I'm not telling you guys anything that we don't know about, but that's what these streams are. These streams are talking about this kind of stuff, whatever the topic is that I think is kind of interesting. But yeah, I thought that patience was something that people really need to give themselves a little bit of grace towards. It's okay that things take a while. It's okay if you don't see progress day in and day out, you know, and it's okay if times get tough. You know, you can always pivot, right? But you got to keep that goal in the back of your mind. If that goal in the back of your mind is to have your own business or have your own, you know, whatever it might be, truth is you always have to keep it back there, and you have to let it kind of marinate, right? And you just have to keep working on it, even if it doesn't work. Because eventually, given enough time, your idea will rise to the top if it's a good idea. You will get good enough at something to where you're better than most of the people in whatever field it is you're wanting to operate in, and you'll get there, you know? But it takes a lot of time, you know? And this is the stuff that, again, I know it's not sexy. I wish I had an exciting way to talk about this topic. I know I'm not going to get a ton of views on the stream because, again, it's not drama. It's not like oh, the sky's crashing, you know, like, oh, doomsday. Like, that stuff's all popular, and this is one of those things, you know. And so truth is that I started my first business when I was 22 years old, and I was making aquarium cabinets. Like, I was in a reef, you know, saltwater fish, and I'd make aquarium cabinets for my own aquariums. Then other people wanted me to make their aquarium cabinets, and then eventually it got to a point where a pet store wanted me to make all the aquarium cabinets for their store and sell my own aquarium cabinets, right? So the idea was there, right? There was this idea that, well, clearly I'm good enough at something that somebody else wants to pay me for it, right? And then another person wants to pay me for it. Oh, there's a business that wants to pay me for it, right? So these are all kind of things that lead to the start of some kind of a business, right? Some kind of an idea that, hey, I'm good enough at this that I could possibly do it, right? But I didn't know the marketing, I didn't know the advertising, and when it came time to deliver this product to this fish store, like I didn't have the marketing material, right? So the owner of the fish store wasn't interested in my product because if I didn't have that material, it wasn't going to work, and I never did it. And anyway, that business collapsed, right? And then it was in 2008, I started up again. This time it was called, the first business was called Aquarium Accents, right? Which was cool. The next one was called Wilken Woodcraft. And same thing, then I started making furniture and different kinds of cabinets and things, but people noticed that I was working on this Victorian house that I had there in El Dorado, Kansas. And so I had people wanting me to build like big, massive 16-foot curved railings for old houses. They wanted me to do millwork and things like that. And again, I had an old house. These people had old houses, and it just kind of worked. Oh, this guy with an old house has a wood shop in his old house, and it turned into where now I got a business, right? So now I can start writing off part of my house. I can write off all my tools, gas, vehicles, all kinds of things. And that failed again, right? Failed because my marriage failed, and point is I had to go do something else, right? So my main business, which was aerospace, took me down to Tulsa. And Tulsa, nothing happened because I lived in an apartment. I lived in an apartment there for a long time because I was going through a divorce, between alimony and child support. There's no money for anything, right? So once I got control of that, then I was able to move to Savannah, Georgia, where I was able to get a house. That's where I got my dream job, and I started up my next business, right? And I've told this story before. There was a guy at Gulfstream who was kind of like the guy that did work for people. He liked to do side work, build cabinets and furniture, stuff like that. And he just decided he didn't want to do it anymore. And I happened to work with him. And he was telling his clients, hey, go talk to Eric. Eric likes to do this stuff. He's a really good furniture maker. He likes building things. He's great here at Gulfstream. And it turned into where his clients were then coming to me asking me for stuff. And it got to a point where one client, and I've told the story many times, and I tell this story because this is really, really how it happened. It's literally like this, okay? The client said, hey, can you make some cornices for me, right? These are things that go over windows. And I made a couple of them. She paid me like $1,500. It wasn't big money. I painted them. I literally bought a shitty little painter, and I had a crappy little garage, and I built this stuff with a miter saw, right? What happened after that was absolutely insane. Okay, so she came back to me it was like a month or two later. She's like, hey, these cornices are really cool. Can you make me a kitchen? And I didn't tell her at the time. I had no shop. I had no nothing. I did this in my little shitty garage out in this little house I was renting in Savannah, Georgia. And I told her, I'm like, I got no garage, lady. I don't have any tools. I can't make anything. I don't have anything. And she said, so? I'm like, what the fuck? So? And she's like, well, go get a shop. Go find some tools. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm doing numbers in my head, right away. I'm okay, we're 5,000, 7,000, 10. I'm gonna need 15 grand to get this thing going, lady. And she's like, great. What are you gonna charge me for this kitchen? And I put the numbers together, and I was like, it's probably 30 grand for me to make this thing. She's like, great, I'll get you a check tomorrow. She got me a check for $20,000 the next day, right? So I'm driving all over North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, clear down to Florida, buying up used tools. I found a facility, I don't know, it was 2 or 3 miles away from my house, which was really cool. It was just a shitty old metal building. Put all those tools in there, got some wiring going on, built a little spray booth, and I started making this kitchen. And that's how it can start. If you're willing to just keep doing the work, eventually these people will find you. And it's just it's not really serendipity, but it's just a collection of all of this stuff that you do over the years. The way you carry yourself over the years leads to other people recommending you for stuff or seeing that you're doing stuff. You're kind of a cool person. You're a person that is approachable, and people will approach you to do this stuff, and it's happened everywhere I've ever lived. If you're willing to make things, you're out in your garage building stuff, people see that you got tools, you're working with table saws and routers and shit like that. People really, they take notice. It's very noticeable, right? And again, you do this stuff year after year after year, and you continue honing your craft. it will lead to really good things. And like I said, everywhere I've been, it's always led to good things. And this is that patience element, right? Like I feel like for most people, life is like that. Life's like that meme or that picture, whatever they want to call it. So we got, what do we got here? Okay, Gabrielle, bye. Yeah, okay, Gabriel. I get this conversation's not for you. This conversation's not for everyone. So yeah, I don't know what. Let's see. Why SOS serious? Kind of hold your wood. Yeah, okay, great. You're one of those people. Okay, thanks. Hit the like button. We appreciate you being in there. Add to the conversation. Of course, you can hold my wood, man. Just hit the like button, okay? Anyway, point is that if you do this stuff long enough, like you will get where it is you want to be, but it takes a lot of time, and you got to be really patient. It's it can be frustrating, but it does happen. Anyway, back to what I was saying about that meme, okay? So the point is that there's that meme, right? You guys have seen it. It's a guy with a pickaxe, and he's digging a hole, right? And he's moving this way, and you got another guy digging a hole, and he's digging this way, and they're just about to meet, but they give up. And that's like a perfect analogy for what happens to most people, I think. I think they get tired of doing it. They get tired of the direction their life is going or the work that they're doing, and they move off in another direction, right? And then they got to start all over again, you know? And I know that works for some people, and there's probably plenty of stories where, you know, people have been successful doing that stuff, but the truth is that it takes 10,000 hours to get mediocre at something, right? You know, that's basically 5 years if you really want to think about it, but it takes a lifetime to get really good at something, you know, unless you're some kind of a prodigy. But truth is that you have to keep doing it, right? And it just takes patience, but it moves it's kind of stair steps, to be honest with you, till eventually you'll get that opportunity to where you can literally not work for anybody else. You can just work for yourself. Those opportunities will stack. Those clients will stack. And a lot of that, you know, that juju that you've built up over the years, it leads to good things. And so, you know, I know that, like I said, it's kind of a woo-woo kind of a talk, but I am a firm believer in patience. Like I really am. And like at our company here, the Resplendent Crow, like there have been so many times where, you know, we've literally thought we were out of business. You know, there's not enough sales coming in. It seems like, you know, like no one knows you exist, even though everything's busy. You're just like, what the hell's going on? Where are all the customers? They all just disappeared, you know. And then right when you think, you know, I'm gonna have to go to crack loan, I'm gonna have to mortgage the house, I'm gonna have to go sell the car, like whatever it might be, somebody comes in and buys an insane amount of furniture, and then you're back on up again. and that's just unfortunately how it works. That is business. That is what it means to be a small business owner. And it literally, guys, it just takes a ton of patience, you know. And it's it can be rough, man. Like I know that a lot of times people will, like, take people that go to school, for instance. Like there's a lot of talk about these student loans, right? Everyone's, you know, crying about having to pay their loans back. And you know how many people we've ran into over the years? Like I've had so many people that have bachelor's degrees that want to learn what it is that I do, whether it's sanding, making furniture. They just want to be a delivery driver. You know, like I've had those kind of people. And these people have bachelor's degrees. You know, my wife knows people that have master's degrees that wanted to get in her old trade, which was managing the Maids franchise. If you guys know what that is, Maids are cleaning companies. You know, these people have master's degrees, you know, that want to do this kind of work, you know. And it's the same no matter how educated you are, no matter how skilled you are. If you don't have the patience to stick with what it is that you're doing, right, and let the good things in the world happen, let the, you know, the good experiences from customers, from projects you've built over the years, let that stuff kind of build up, and you just decide to start over and do something completely different, like you're in trouble, man. And there's a lot of people who have talked, a lot of really like successful people. There's a guy named Andy Frisella here in St. Louis, Missouri. He owns a company called First Form, right? And he's very outspoken about this. He believes that when people bounce from job to job to job, like they're just dooming themselves to a life of poverty, you know, and they never get really good at anything, and they can never really be successful because they don't actually get really good at anything. They're good enough to make $15 an hour, $20 an hour, but they're not masters at anything. And they never build up that time. They never build up that time within their industry to become a name within that industry, you know. So that's one guy. Google that guy. You know, he's an interesting character. Like I said, very charismatic and super outspoken. But I mean, all kinds of people talk this way, and I think it's the truth. Like, you have to have the patience to hone your craft, you know, let your business, you know, set out there in the ether and continue just kind of working on it, even if it's only part-time. Like I tell you guys all the time, like if you want to start a business, the first thing you got to do is get a freaking website. Like, find the name, get a good name, get a logo, get on Fiverr, pay somebody $50, over in wherever, Riyadh, wherever the hell these people are, Indonesia, and pay that person to make you a freaking logo. Make a logo. Build a website. Get on Squarespace. Get on Shopify, whatever it might be, and get your product on the internet. And then start advertising it. Take some time. Learn what other people do. Go look at my website, the Resplendent Crow. Look at what I did. Do the same thing. Get yourself a nice logo. Get yourself a nice website. Advertise and go make some freaking money. Get your name out there in the ether and spend 2 or 3 years getting good at something and putting out new products, updating that website, working on your logo, making sure that everything is just, because it takes years, it builds, and eventually you'll be that person that's kind of the in the top echelons of whatever your service or product is. But you can't have it overnight, guys. Like, you can't do it. Like, it's very rare that somebody just is a flash in the pan. They're immediately successful. Like, that's, a lot of people say, well, you just need the right marketing plan, or you just need the right website, or you just need my program. And all these people are full of shit. They're all full of shit. And the reason they're full of shit is because if they were so successful at what they're doing, they'd still be in the business. But the truth is that they're not successful in the business, which is why they're trying to tell you how to be in the business. They're selling you advertising. They're selling you marketing. They're selling you t-shirts and cups. And they really, they don't know what they're talking about. They got out of the business, And a lot of people, especially the furniture business, what they learned is there's several people out there on YouTube right now. They've sold their businesses throughout the years, and now they're trying to make money telling you how to do it. And the truth is, the reason they're doing that is because it's very difficult to make money making stuff, right? Which you end up with a country like what we have now, where everyone just designs and white labels all their products. It has people in China do all the hard work, right? They bring it back here and then they sell it as their own product. That's what all these people are trying to do. And it's a damn shame. We can do better than that. We're a better country than that, and we don't need to be letting everyone else make everything, and then talk about how we're super successful, we're so good at what we do, when in fact we don't really make anything. So anyway, all right, notification, YouTube, background noise detected, potential. Oh God, we always get these goofy things going in here. Anyway, I thought it was be fun talk, and I said I know the idea of patience is something that people aren't going to necessarily gravitate towards, but give yourself some time. Like, don't be so quick to bounce around from job to job, to idea. Like, give yourself some time. Take your idea, marinate on it a little bit, and perfect it. Make it better. Like, it's okay to fail at something, but keep working on it. Now, if you get into something 2 or 3 years and you're getting no traction, maybe you got to pivot into something else. But you do have to work on things for a long time, and it's not something. You're not going to get successful, with just some crazy idea. It does not work that way. And I hope people kind of understand. And again, I talk about this stuff because I'm a regular Joe, like no education, just busted his ass, moved all over the country, 3 failed businesses. Now I finally got one that's moderately successful, and it's a middle-class living. And I just want people to know that this is what the business is like. This is what starting a business is like, running a business, especially in the woodworking and paint game. It's not easy, and it can be really frustrating. It gets really tough. But if you're willing to put in the time and endure the bullshit, the good things will come. You'll see the green shoots, as they say. So it can work for people. So anyway, it's good talk. Like I said, I just wanted to kind of let people know that patience is very important, and just keep working at it. Don't give up on an idea right away because because it doesn't seem like you're getting any traction, or people tell you your idea is dumb, or you get people telling you that you're a loser or whatever. Like, it's okay. Like, just work on that idea. Give it time to grow and develop, and it can become the next, great thing. It can become the thing that gets you out of working for somebody else and working for yourself. So, have a great day, and I'll yak to you guys later.